Today we're going to be fitting this radiator guard to the 660. I've already gone ahead and put the foam in all four corners and the bungs on us as well. So they just sit flat face to the back. If you're doing this job, I suggest you make yourself one of these. I'll just be removing the left side fairing today, but it helps you make sure all the bolts are out and you don't lose any. Worth having. And then these are some of the tools we're going to need. Just some Allen keys, Phillips head screwdriver, small ratchet, and these little pieces are quite interesting. They're 3D printed, little nub hex drivers, and they're just useful for those bits at the front near the front wheel where we've got less room to manoeuvre. So if you can make yourself or buy yourself some of these, it's worth having. First thing we've got to remove is going to be this internal plastic piece here that just wraps around there, and we've got one bolt in there and then one there, and then once you move that you've got another one there, so I'll just remove them. So this one back here is a T25 Torx, and you can see where these little nub hex keys come in quite handy. Just allow us to remove the bolt where we don't have a lot of clearance. That first one's out, so now we're just going to do this one here. Now once you've got those three bolts out, with a little bit of wiggling, this will pop out, and then the easiest way to remove it is just twist it like so, and then it comes out nice and easy. Then what I like to do for these bolts is I put these where they're supposed to go in the plastic, so like so. So we do actually have to remove the front wing. And this is where this cardboard starts becoming quite useful, is the screws you take out and the bolts you take out go in here. So once we've done them, there are two screws just under there. So now we're going to undo the main bolts that hold it in. There's one. I've already cracked it loose. Here's another one. There's one all the way down here that holds it onto the belly pan. And again, this is quite useful. Here's another one. It's quite hidden under there. This is one that I'd undo all the way out but never fully remove from the fairing. So if you just undo it all the way, eventually you'll be able to feel that it's popped out. Just like so. So that's now not secure to the bike anymore, but you can leave the screw in. Now these are the difficult ones to get to, so we've got three on the inside. Where these stubby hex drivers are very useful. Couple more bolts holding it in, or three to be precise. We've got this one here, that's just under there if it focuses. We've got that bolt down there, and this bolt just there as well. So this one's a 2.5mm. And this one is also 2.5mm. Then this should be the final bolt. It's quite difficult doing this one-handed. So this is an 8mm ratchet, 8mm socket, sorry, with a small 1/4" ratchet. It's a bit tight, but Once it's partially out, you should be able to get the rest by hand. Let's give that a go. There we go. So as we can see, all the bolts are out. They're all secure, safe. There's nothing else holding it on. The way I like to remove it is I hold it in here. It's a non-painted surface. And if you just wriggle it, you need to get that piece out from under there. So it's more of a twist down. Got the fairing off. The next step is going to be taking this plastic piece off. Pretty simple, there's only 3 bolts that hold it on. That one, and that one. So I've seen other videos where they've said you need to take both sides of the fairing off. I disagree. You can do it just by removing the left side or the right side, whatever's easiest to you. Don't lose the bolts. I'll show you how to do that now. So once you've done that, this can just dangle just there. Plastic pieces out of the way, we're just going to be sliding the radiator guard into that little slit across the other side. So I'll try to do this one-handed. All we're going to do is slide it in like so. Now mine fits well because I've already test fitted it. You may need to bend it to get it to sit securely. It doesn't bolt anywhere, so might need a bit of adjusting, but once it's in and this plastic piece wraps around this end, it secures it. And once it's in, you can place the plastic piece back in and start putting your screws back on to secure it. The next bit we need to get right when installing these fairings is the way it aligns to the headlight. So you may need to move it and pull it back, and then it slides forward, and as you can see, it's nice and in line all the way. I have struggled with that in the past, but you need to get that right before you start securing it, or else you can rebuild it all up and then find that there's a massive gap, which isn't ideal. So once we're at this stage, we'll start doing all the bolts back up. Now, once it's in place, the headlight's correct, this is the next bolt I like to do up, and it's this bolt that we never took out. So you can pull it out slightly, gauge where it is, and start doing it up. Now, one of the tips that I'd give you is don't fully tighten any of the bolts. So that's now in. We're going to keep fitting more bolts, but don't do any of them tight until every single bolt is in and started threading. So now we know where every bolt goes. We've made life easier for ourselves. We can start pulling the fairing into place. Again, don't do any bolt up all the way. And the reason for that is the plastic needs to be able to move to get the bolts all lined up. So if you do any of them all the way fully tight, the fairing will never move to where you need it to. So that's them 3 in. The next, I'm going to do this one, which this is usually the first one I like to do all the way. And obviously not to forget the ones that go underneath, near the wheel. Make sure they're nice and tight. So the final step, pretty much, for the left hand side is going to be secure all the bolts all the way. Make sure they're nice and tight. That one down there is tight. And if you need some extra leverage on this one, for example, it's okay, but here you'll struggle. Always get a socket or something to just go on the end, just to give it a little nip. And then most importantly, do not forget the bolt that is under here, because that's the hidden one that everyone tends to forget. That one nice and tight, secure. That's everything secure that side. And the final stage is going to be installing this black plastic back on. So I'm just going to take the screws, put them there. Just make sure you know which ones go where. And then I'm just going to put that in. If I'm not mistaken, it's a bit of a fiddle to do it, but turn the steering once that bit's in, all the way like so, you can get it roughly in line, then start clipping it back in. And then just check like that, you can see where the bolt needs to screw in, and we'll just put those bolts back in, and that's that side done. Radiator guard is fully fitted and installed and ready to protect the bike and the radiator.